Resident Evil Apocalypse was released in 2004, and while Paul W.S. Anderson did return to write the screenplay and serve as a producer, his committing to directing Alien vs. Predator shifted directing duties to experienced second unit director Alexander Witt, making his feature directorial debut. Shortly after the events of the first movie, Umbrella sends in a team to investigate what happened in the Hive, only for their crew to become overrun with zombies. Mere hours later, the T-virus has spread to the nearby mountain community of Raccoon City, prompting Umbrella to quarantine the entire city and send in a cleanup crew to help the police fail miserably at killing zombies. Meanwhile, Milla Jovovich's Alice wakes up in a hospital following a series of experiments conducted on her by Umbrella, upon them seizing her out of the mansion. She stumbles out and joins up with a small group of survivors, including Raccoon City police officer Jill Valentine, played by Sienna Guillory, and Umbrella mercenary Carlos Oliveira, played by Oded Fehr. They all are asked by Umbrella researcher and T-Virus creator Charles Ashford, played by Jared Harris, to bring his daughter Angela, played by Sophie Vavasseur, out of the quarantine zone before Umbrella destroys Raccoon City with a nuclear missile. But getting the girl out is going to be easier said than done, not just because of the city being overrun by zombies, but because Umbrella's latest creation, a mutated monstrosity with superhuman strength codenamed Nemesis, is stalking Alice all the way to an explosive battle of indifference. So Resident Evil Apocalypse is where the live-action RE movies go from 0 to retarded, the fanfiction dialed up to 11. Anderson has stated that he used two movies as a frame of reference when developing Apocalypse, John Carpenter's Escape from New York, with our intrepid hero and company attempting to escape a dystopian wasteland with an army of crazies on their tail, and James Cameron's Aliens, which was still a hybrid of sci-fi and horror, but also ramped up the action considerably when compared to Ridley Scott's Alien. But here's the thing. Aliens, whether you love it or hate it, was equal parts sci-fi, action, and horror, regardless of what the detractors might say. Apocalypse isn't. Here, there's some elements of sci-fi and horror, if you feel comfortable calling jump scares horror, and I don't. But the movie is hardly above a B-level action movie. Now, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, except for a recurring issue that begins here and plagues the remainder of the series going forward. With the 90-minute running time and the addition of fan-favorite characters from the video games, people who the average non-gaming filmgoer would likely be unfamiliar with, the movie doesn't give enough breathing time to get to know any new characters or give us a real reason to give a shit about them outside of, oh, they're people trapped in a zombie apocalypse. And no, you don't need to spend 20 minutes per character giving us a reason to care about them. Just longer than flat nothing. The movie just assumes you know who Jill Valentine and Carlos Oliveira are, and yeah, if you're a fan of the games, like I am, you'd be able to point and go, holy shit, that's Jill Valentine in her tube-top miniskirt combo from RE3. Holy shit, that's Carlos Oliveira. Wait, he's jumping out of a helicopter dual-wielding Desert Eagles? Bad fucking ass, man! And that awesomeness wears out right around the time Jill finds herself cornered by some lickers in a church, prompting Alice to crash in with a motorcycle and take them out entirely on her own. Oh yeah, this movie starts another trope of this franchise that I absolutely fucking hate. The character of Alice is the main attraction of these movies. Not the zombies, not the fan-favorite characters like Jill and Chris Redfield and Leon Kennedy, not the hybrid of sci-fi action and horror. No, it's fucking Alice. Because the story is constantly laser-focused on her and what she's doing to help humanity survive. Fuck everybody else. They can't have their moment in the spotlight because Alice is constantly there to steal their thunder, which is annoying for two reasons. Number one, that in turn makes all other characters look like window dressing. Two, she's a blank slate from start to finish with this series. She has little, if any, personality, and she's just an uninteresting character, and the action sequences have little punch because she is virtually unstoppable regardless of what comes her way, including Nemesis, which was so... Why in an inverted fuck did the big showdown with Nemesis have to be a fucking fist fight? Number one, Nemesis is not a martial artist. Number two, Because the Nemesis is so big and bulky, director Alexander Witt chose to shoot and edit the scene in question in a manner that forces you to subconsciously stitch the fight together in your head, making it an incomprehensible clusterfuck. 3! There's a butt-fucking nuke on the way. So suppose the two of them are still going at it by sunrise. You're fucked. 4. Nemesis doesn't go down after a 2-minute fist fight. Nemesis makes you his bitch after 5 seconds. And I'm probably being generous with that. And as if that scene alone isn't bullshit enough, the rest of the action in the movie, the only thing you find engaging at all, doesn't fare much better. Because this movie was released in 2004, every single action sequence is edited like a music video, which is stupid. Tight frames, lots of fast cutting, shaky cam all over, just music video editing belongs in music videos. Keep it out of our movies, period. While the zombie makeup and the Nemesis all look cool, and the CGI on the lickers is improved, there's very little, if any, gore, which is an issue I have with this series as a whole. For a movie series based on Resident Evil, a franchise infamous for its graphic depictions of gore, these movies are so tame in the gore department that they're almost PG-13. Plus, the headbanger music is back, working hand in hand with the action and editing to completely undercut any sense of fear or tension in a movie called Resident Evil. Plus, this movie directly steals from 2 different movies that are miles above this. Oh yeah, the Lickers now have Predator vision, which is bullshit because they're blind, and the Nemesis has Terminator vision, which makes even less sense than the Lickers having Predator vision, fucking. As for the cast, I've already spoken my piece on Milla Jovovich's Alice. She's a shit character brought into the Resident Evil series by a fucking simp. Moving on. Sienna Guillory's Jill Valentine certainly does have the look down right. She does fill in that tube top miniskirt combo nicely and carries the physique to back it up. But just looking like your respective character ain't enough. You have to have their personality, and Guillory portrays Jill like a queen bitch. Let's stop lying to ourselves and pretending her Jill is in any way good. Oded Fehr's Carlos Oliveira? Standard military soldier. Carlos's Latin charm is non-existent, leaving us with a less interesting commando version of Ardith Bay from Stephen Sommers' The Mummy. Thomas Kretschmann is the closest this movie has to an antagonist, with Major Kane, the Umbrella officer in charge of containing the outbreak in Raccoon City. You know he's evil because he works for Umbrella, and he has an accent. Jared Harris turns in an okay performance as Umbrella scientist Charles Ashford, trying to work behind Kane's back to get his daughter out of the city. I do at the very least buy that he is willing to go around his superiors to get his daughter back alive. Sophie Vavasseur plays Ashford's daughter Angela, who is little more than a plot device. And spoiler alert, she's completely retconned out of existence by the next movie, so I wouldn't feign attachment to her if I was you. Mike Epps is perhaps the one character in this movie I ever come within danger of giving a shit about in the form of LJ, the comic relief black guy. That's all there is to his character, but he does have a personality. Ian Glenn makes a minor appearance in the film's closing scene as Dr. Isaacs, who is to serve as Umbrella's chief researcher in place of William Birkin. He'll become important later on. Zach Ward, who's only really known for starring in Uwe Boll's atrocious Rampage trilogy, yes, even the first movie is garbage, portrays Umbrella mercenary Nikolai Genevieve, who was the secondary antagonist of RE3, but is instead turned into a throwaway character here. Matthew Taylor, who portrays the Nemesis, does have his height and the build to properly carry the weight of the Nemesis costume on his shoulders. Now, the Nemesis costume was reported to weigh as much as a small sofa. It's just unfortunate that, like everybody else in this movie that fans of the games would give a shit about, he never truly ascends above fan service. Brace yourselves, because the bullshit increases from here. As for Resident Evil Apocalypse, I'd only recommend it as a rental paired with the first movie.